This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and I'm an author, speaker, trainer, retired attorney, and former director of the Science of Living Institute in New York City, and a network marketing expert. I've written 9 books, but 3 of them are below: the 12 Universal Laws of Success, the digital version of the 12 Universal Laws of Success, the Golden 12 Universal Rules for Achieving Success, and our first major book, How to Make Money in Music. Our main book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, has been translated into at least 9 languages, but we have Chinese, French, Italian, Romanian, and Spanish. So the point is that the book is a universal book that has changed people's lives all over the world. The purpose of this everything you need to get anything you want webinar is really to bring us to a point where we are right now. Right now, we have less than 6 months left in the year. We have all set goals for things we want to accomplish this month, but many of us have not accomplished them. And the message is, as Albert Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting a different result. So the message is, you've got to make some changes. When we look at the past, as they say, learn from the past, prepare for the future, but live in the present. Thomas Monson said that. And this is really saying that whatever has happened in the past is instructive. The future is hopeful, but today, what we do today is key, and that we must act and live in the present. The question is, if your life is not going the way you want it to go, then truly it is time for a change. The reference is the second universal law of success, which says, be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, which is saying whatever's going on in your life right now, that you can change it by changing your thinking. So my question is, are you happy with your life right now? Do you believe, though, that you can be more, that you can do more, that you can have more? The key is this: wherever you are right now, it is important that you assess your situation, address the things that need to be changed, and then make some progress. When we think about the GPS, the success GPS, it's really saying this: the GPS requires 2 things to get you from where you are to where you want to be. It requires a destination, and it requires a location. Your location is right here and right now, but it is important that you assess where you are in every regard. If we look at where we are right now in time and space in our lives, where we are, the life that we experience right now is a result of our thoughts, our emotions, our habits, and our relationships. So the question is, what must you do to be happy? First, you have to desire to change. You know, many times people can get so involved with their condition, get so comfortable with whatever's going on in their lives, that they say this is normal. They have very low expectations for themselves, and they say, you know what? I just want to mark my time here and get by. So if you want to change your life, you must have a deep, burning desire to do so. The second point is you have to be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, then that's like having a GPS and trying to put in a phony location. That GPS is always going to take you where you want to go based on the location you put in there. And so if you're not honest with yourself, it's like you're operating on a lie. And then the third key is you must take responsibility. If you don't take responsibility for change, guess what? Things will change, but they won't be in accordance with your wishes. the things that change will be in accordance with the world mind, what the world wants for you. When we talk about assessing our situation, the Ben Franklin method, powerful method. Ben Franklin was one of the original signers of the Declaration of Independence, was one of the people that was critical in the American Revolution. He had a nice method to determine how to make decisions and how to make changes in his life, and it's called the Ben Franklin method. Now, what Ben would do, he would draw a line, a vertical line and a horizontal line, like a cross. And on the left side, he would write victories. And on the right side, above the horizontal line, he would write lessons. And what he was basically saying is this: your victories are all the good things you've done so far this year. All the things that you've done to keep yourself on the path to help you be where you want to be. And the lessons are all the things that did not work. Now, the one thing we all know is what didn't work. And the idea of being honest with ourselves is to fess up to what didn't work and give ourselves a congratulations or pat on the back for what did. So when Ben Franklin would make a decision, and let's put it in the personal, based on where you are right now, if you make a list of all of your victories. So let's say your goal was to buy a house in 2 years, and a part of that process was to set aside $4,800 in money this year to be a part of the down payment on the house, in addition to other things that you're doing. So if your goal for this year was to save $4,800, breaking that down into 12 months, that means that you should save $400 a month. So really, 7 months have gone by. 7 times 4 is $2,800. So if you look at your victories and you say, well, I saved $2,800, I accomplished my goals for this money, this saving. Those are victories. It may be another victory. I've gotten my credit straight. Another victory. I have completed some education courses that I wanted to take. Another victory. I've gotten into a great relationship. All the good things that you accomplish. And then on the right side, all the lessons. Now, suppose you had not saved that $400 a month. And so now here you are at the 7th month of the year, and you say, what's the lesson? I did not save $400 a month. I only saved $800 over these 7 months. So that's a lesson. I messed up my credit even worse. I didn't pay my credit cards. That's a lesson. I met somebody who just threw me off track, who distracted me from what I was supposed to do. That's a lesson. So when you list all the victories and all the lessons, then you look back at your goals. What were your goals when you started out this year? And how do the victories and lessons impact your goals? So if you did not save the $400 a month that you were supposed to save to enable you to buy a home in 2 or 3 years, wow, okay, that was a goal. Your goal was to save $4,800. Maybe if your goal was to get into a new relationship with somebody who likes you or loves you. If you don't have your written goals down that you started with the beginning of this year, that's a problem. We'll never get where we want to go if we don't know where it is. So for those of you watching tonight, if you've not written your goals, then lesson 1 is to write your goals for the rest of this year. Where do you want to be December 31st? And you got to take some serious action. Are you happy with your life right now? Okay. That's a key point. If you're not happy with your life right now, then the question is, what are you going to do about it? And so using that Ben Franklin method, if you're happy with your life right now, if your life is going well, you have more victories, that you saved your $2,800. You saved that financial goal. You've gotten into a class and you're doing well in your course that you're taking. You're building a next relationship. You met somebody and you all are working it out. If most of the things you set out to do, the goals that you had for the beginning of this year, if most of them are accomplished, you just make some minor adjustments. And these next 5 months will be right on. If your life is not going well, if there are more lessons, the thing you did not save the money, you did not get the relationship, you did not do what you had to do to get the promotion, then it's time for a major overhaul to change your entire life. And that is only if you want to have something specific. If you're happy doing what you're doing, floating around in the river of time, hallelujah. But if you want to change, something's got to happen. What changes must you make in your life right now to get where you want to be by the end of this year? Now let's go off the share for a moment. I know some other people have joined us. Thank you so much for joining us. Karen, I see AM. Yeah, Aubrey. And I see Chris. Chris, thank you so much for joining us from Australia. And man, I really appreciate your being on the call tonight. And let's see. Noel, yes, and Aubrey. Aubrey, I wanted you to share something.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Beautiful.
I am available.
Thank you so much, Aubrey, for the great work you've been doing, man. And with this season that they're in right now, as we go forth into the next 5 months, what do you think we need to do?
I think we need to rekindle our dream and promote our passion because this is post-COVID, you know? There is a lot of conversations happening out here. A lot of people are still frustrated, broke, busted, disgusted, and concerned. And I think that it is time to really reset your timer. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because you're alive, and that is something that you should be grateful for. I sure am.
Yes.
And at the beginning of this year, I ended up in the hospital, and I'm glad to be back here. Very excited and really ready to push the button. Of course, you know, I've been using your book in my class forever.
Yes.
And it's populated the world, and I'm glad to be here hanging out with you. I want to say hi to each and every person that's here right now. We have a lot of things planned, not just in the Caribbean region, but globally coming up into 2024. And you're going to be, of course, a part of it. But
Beautiful.
we'll talk more about that. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share very briefly here.
Thank you so much, Aubrey. And man, I'm just super impressed with your health and your progress. And keep healing, brother. Go ahead on.
Yes, I have to. It's interesting. All of my doctors are women, so I'm very excited because they promised to get me back in shape in 90 days, and they did it.
Excellent.
You know?
All
So
right.
I'll be back on the circuit soon.
Great, great. Let's see. Let me see if I can allow Chris to talk from Australia. See if I can bring Chris in, then I'll touch it with Noel. Chris, how are you?
Good, Dr. Harris. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm just glad to hear your voice. What time is it there in Australia?
10 a.m.
Okay. All right. So you all all right. 10 a.m. Beautiful. I'm glad we got you at the right time. Well, Chris, you've been
That's a
working
great time.
with the Success Toolbox. How's that been working for you?
Amazingly.
You've been making some...
I think since I made contact with you, I've been promoted to project director from project manager. I started a side company as well, which is doing tremendously well and providing additional income. So I'm, in the next couple of months, I'm building a house for my family, and probably couldn't have done it without sort of taking action in the direction you put forward.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Chris. Well, you keep working at it, man. I'm super proud of you because you've risen up through the ranks and now going to own your own company, man. I'm proud of you.
No, thank you.
you. Noel, let's see.
Doc-
AM Noel.
Dr. Harris, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Noel.
Beautiful, beautiful. This message is so critical, and I wish we would learn it in kindergarten about writing what we want.
Yes.
It's so basic. We learn the alphabet, but we don't articulate what we want. And then we listen to our thoughts that are constantly telling us the great things that we do, but it's constantly giving us fear, cynicism, and resignation. And what you are creating is an opportunity for everyone to articulate what they want.
Yes.
Brilliant, Doctor. Brilliant.
Thank you so much, Noel. We sure appreciate you. Great, great. Let's see. We have another one of our people here. Let's see. We have Herman. You want to share a little bit on this?
Sure.
Go right ahead.
Good evening. Good evening. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Dr. Harris?
We're doing great today.
That was an excellent message, and the key points that I took from it, Dr. Harris, was you have to get focused and be a goal setter.
Yes.
coming from your book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, I focus heavily on the law of action, the law of vision, the law of consistency, and these laws equip me with quotes, the laws, scripture, self-assessments, and they help keep me focused on my goals.
Beautiful.
Because if you're not focused on your goals, Dr. Harris, they'll slip away from you.
Yes.
And when they slip away from you, when you don't have nobody to hold you accountable, like you were saying, you lose sight of your goals.
Yes.
You lose the focus to want to make them come true. And then the next thing you know, you say it's too hard and you quit. So many people aren't willing to pay the price when they see how much it costs, how much their goals cost, how much their desires cost, how much their wants cost, how much the life that they envision and that they see in their imagination. When they see how much it costs, they're not willing to pay the price. And you said a part about they settle. And complacency and settling is two principles or two characters, however you want to frame it. But those are two characters that grab 95% of us. And we say, we are right. We are right. I got a house. I got a car. I got a job. But I'm not going to pursue the things that really fulfill me anymore. I'm not going to be happy going after the life that I want to go after anymore because it's too hard. Gotcha. And when you let complacency and settlement pop up, you quit. That's what makes chasing your dreams and writing your vision and making it plain. That's what makes it so hard. Setting your eyes on a target, like you said. Yeah, you can't hit a goal if you can't see it. If you don't know what you're shooting at. If you ask 9 out of 10 people, what do you want? They'll tell you something like, I want to be happy. Okay, how do you be happy? What's it gonna take to be happy? Yes. How do you see yourself being happy? What do you got to do for happiness? Yes. So many of us, including myself, I was lost too a couple of years ago, man. But being under your tutelage, reading the materials that you had me read, being involved in a mastermind class, I have another level of consciousness now. And now I'm able to know where I'm at. You know, when you're at the mall and you look at that sign that says you're right here. Yeah. You got to start somewhere, and then you go where you want to go. You see where you want to go. It's mapped out. You say, yo, I want to go to the Gucci store. I want to go to the Timberland store. I want to go get a slice of pizza. Then you see where you want to go, but you just can't be walking aimlessly around the mall. Got you. So your goals need to be focused. They need to be determined, and you need to They need to be specific. They need to have a reason. You got to have some action. You got to have some timetables. You know, I'm spitting out the SMART goals, and I added a couple to it as well.
Yes, yes.
But you need
Yeah.
you need to definitely line it up, have it accountable, have some accountability, and know what you're looking for. Know what you want. Set your eyes on it. Be determined. Have desire, and go get it.
Get it done. Wow. Thank you so much, Herman. Let me go back in for a moment. Let me, you know, one of the purposes of this seminar, this webinar, was to do just what we did. You know, we really heard from each other and learned from each other. I want to take us to another level, because when we talk about having the things we need for success, but I'm going to share a little more about the Success Toolbox, because that is a tool that can give you the ability to do anything you need to do. When we talk about everything you need to get anything you want, the Success Toolbox is a package that we put together, knowing all of the challenges, knowing all of the things that happen that slow us down, that can really undermine our efforts. It was important to put a program together that you could have everything you need at your disposal. The Success Toolbox is an application of the 12 universal laws of success. And, you know, we all know that the laws have gone around the world. The book has gone around the world. But this book has become a success Bible. And the purpose of the toolbox now is to take pieces from the book now, but to put it into an application format. The 224 pages in the book give you everything you need from a substantive level, but the workbook, and this is a part of the Success Toolbox, the 70 pages of exercises take the book to a different level. You know, it's one thing when you read it. It's almost like when you take a class and when the teacher gives you a test at the end of the class, that crystallizes your knowledge. And that helps you focus your study. And so the Success Workbook is 70 pages of notes and exercises to help you translate the message in the 12 universal laws of success into action steps. In addition to the workbook, we have included the audio. And one of the key things about the audio is everybody learns in a different way. They have different learning styles. And so this is over 6 hours of recorded information so that you can now listen to the 12 universal laws of success. You know, and many of you already have the book. The audio book is a great supplement to that. One of the young people that just bought the package down in Barbados, one of the things he said, he's a young fellow, 29 years old, and really into the audio and the video. And the audio book was the key. That was the thing that helped him go from where he was to where he wanted to be. It was a deal maker instead of a deal breaker, a deal maker. The heart of the Success Toolbox is the New You Home Study course. This is a course designed to give you all the stuff that you need now. One part, there's an audio on the book, How to Study. Whenever you're learning something to change your life, you want to be sure to learn it properly. You want to be sure to digest it. And so the How to Study audio takes the SQ3R method. S is survey, Q is set up your questions, R1 is to read it, R2 is to review it, R3 is to recite it. So you can use the SQ3R method now to help you study. There's a workbook with each one of the classes, each one of the audios. This workbook helps you fill in and put to work the ideas. So that things like Face the Facts. The first audio is called Face the Facts. And that helps you do that assessment phase that we just talked about a little bit. As Herman was sharing, if you don't know where you are, you can't get where you want to go. And so Face the Facts. The second class, Making Life Changes. The third, Setting Goals and Objectives. And then the fourth, a commitment to action. In addition, you get a certificate of completion. The purpose of this course now is to put you into, you might call it a serious learning mode where with a home study course, you learn at your own pace. To supplement the 4 classes and the how to study audio, we put some other selected audios that are specially selected for what they can do. One is the 54-minute audio of a live interactive seminar on the 12 Universal Laws of Success. You can take that audio and literally learn how the laws work and even learn how to teach it. You get the 12 affirmations to live by poster. You know, every Monday we do an affirmation, a Monday affirmation, and we often center on one of these 12 affirmations. I have a positive self-image. I believe in myself. But this is all a part of the transformation process to take you from where you are to where you want to go. Other digital bonuses include the Law of Command, the Wealth Building in Trying Times audio, and a host of other little goodies. There's a nice piece on how to write your goals and how to write out your action plan. The point is, the Success Toolbox gives you everything you need to get anything you want. In addition to the Success Toolbox, the July special that we've been running, we've been sending an autographed copy of the 12 Universal Laws of Success along with the package. And it's an autographed copy. It's a numbered copy. There are only a certain number of the books that we've numbered like this. So one day they're going to be collector's items. So that just gives you a brief overview of the Success Toolbox. And so let's go back a little bit and talk about some of the pieces and hear from some of the other people on the call today. I see we have, let's see, we have Mary Harris from Mississippi. Hey, Mary, how are you today? Let's see. Let me see if I can allow you to share. Thank you so much for being with us, Mary. Well, you've been using the techniques and you've had the book for years, so thanks for being a part of this.
Thank you, Dr. Harris, for having me here and inviting me. I always try to attend everything that you put on and that you are participating in and that you offer, because people don't realize how exciting and how much this book is worth. All the little tidbits that are in there and the guides that are there and the self-study course. You know, you were talking about it. I saw it as an implementation of the 12 Universal Laws of Success book. So it's actually, you're learning the 12 Universal Laws of Success when you're reading. Then when you go to the self-study and home study courses, you're actually implementing it and you're following through so that it actually sinks in with you. So I think it's an excellent program. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much, Mary. We appreciate you. Let's see, we have a couple of other people. Okay, we have Kyle Dixon, one of the real troopers and one of the people working on the new book with us. Hey, Kyle, how are you today?
I am well, Dr. Harris. Thank you for having this webinar for us, with us.
Did you have any questions, any thoughts to add?
Really, really a thought to add is that, you know, a lot of these things are so simple. I think somebody was saying it earlier, just how profound, but how simple these things are. But you also have to carry these things out. You have to live it. You have to act in it. You have to think in it. And I was talking to a colleague of mine recently that a lot of times people are like, well, I've tried everything. You know, I've done things and it doesn't work. But typically people are thinking too much and they've been thinking about it for a long time, but they didn't follow through with their thinking, or they had improper thinking about it as far as their goals, their agendas, their purpose. And I find that a lot of folks, and someone mentioned it earlier as well, that a lot of the youth, when we grow up into our adulthood, do not really realize that they have a purpose. Mm-hmm. And that's something as an educator that I've noticed throughout the years, is that a lot of people are walking around thinking they're just here just to be here and don't have any direction. So, you know, your universal laws are very, very profound because they're just so simple, but they're so deep and dynamic at the same time. So it really allows someone who is in a place or they want to live a certain quality of life, that they can implement these things immediately and begin to see results.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kyle. Great. Back to the class a little bit. One of the parts of the Success Toolbox, the action plan, and one of the things about an action plan is you have to follow it. And anything that you do, one of the messages that we really work hard to really bring it home is the fact that the moment you have an action plan, it must come with a commitment to action. It's not just enough to just write the plan down, but it comes with a commitment to action where you have to get busy. You have to start working at it. And some of the things that we're talking about doing is a daily method of operation. That once you have a daily method of operation, that changes everything. Think about this for a moment. With a daily method of operation, that says, number one, write your plan the night before. Write your plan the night before. Make the list of the things that you have to do the night before. And the most critical thing is to schedule when they must be done. If you don't schedule it, it probably will not get done. And so all the good work that you put together, and I find that this is one of the pitfalls as we begin to hone our skills and really get focused on the things we want to accomplish this year, that we'll make a list of things to do, and then we don't schedule when they must be done. So you'll set out with, let's just say, 6 to 10 things. What I have found is this. In the beginning, you start making lists, detailed lists, 10 things to be done, 11, 15 things to be done. But what I've been finding is if you have a list of about 6 things to be accomplished in a day and schedule the time those things must be accomplished, that you'll give yourself a much better opportunity to succeed and to get it done. Once you schedule it, for example, if you have 11 o'clock to do a business presentation, and if you don't schedule it, 11 o'clock may pass and you didn't do the presentation. 12 o'clock, you're supposed to read a chapter in a book that you're working on. If you miss those time elements and those really time appointments, it throws you off. So you get to the end of the day, you did not do the presentation, you did not read the book. So make the list the night before and then schedule when those activities must be done. Third, Herman shared something very powerful. We write our goals and we file them away in the file cabinet, in the dustbins of our minds. And so everybody who's on this call tonight, if I say, can you pull out and put in front of you right now the goals that you wrote, the things that you wanted to accomplish for this year? Most of us can't. Most of us can't. Anything you don't repeat over and over in your mind, you tend to forget. And so a part of this whole transformation to help you do what you want to do this year, in addition to making the list, in addition to scheduling the activities, but you must read your written goals over 3 times a day. I challenge you, any success book that you can find, from Napoleon Hill, Schwartz, you name it, it says the same thing. Not just to write your goals, but to read them over at least 3 times a day. Now, this is the kicker, folks. If you don't schedule when you're going to read them, they won't get read. And so today, this day going forward, schedule your time to read your goal over 3 times a day. Now, for me, it's 7 a.m., 12 noon, 9 p.m. 7 a.m., 12 noon, 9 p.m. Have a 1-sentence statement of what you're about, what your goals are about. what your life is about. I'm going to share my 1-minute statement. Everybody says you have to have an elevator pitch. And my 1-minute statement, 1-sentence statement is this: I am a healthy, happy, rich, best-selling author, speaker, teacher, spiritual guide who brings enlightenment to the world. That's it. So I challenge you. This will help focus you. So I'll just give you an example. When I say that statement, when I say I am a healthy is critical. Without health, you got nothing. Happy, we want joy in our lives. Rich, we don't want to deal with having to get away from the survival mode. Best-selling author. You know, when you say what it is, you visualize it. So when I say that stage, best-selling author, my vision is 5 books on the bestseller list on the New York Times. It'll be a first time. How are you going to have 5 books by the same person? It's going to happen. So when I say speaker, I visualize stadiums. You know, if you ever go to T.D. Jakes' church or Joel Osteen's church, you're on the stage and you're literally in a huge stadium. Visualize that. When I say teacher, I see big seminar rooms with people. Herman just did a goal setting, a visioning workshop, but I see rooms filled with people at the tables with their books and their notebooks out. When I say spiritual guide, the vision that goes with it is people sitting in meditation. And then it says, who brings enlightenment to the world. That's the message. And that simple statement, you can see all the visions. So I challenge each and every one of you to take the success toolbox. And when you get to that 4th lesson of laying out your action plan and that commitment to action, to incorporate these little tidbits into your plan. If you can just do what we've talked about today, you can take that success toolbox and do anything you want. Another thought, then I'll take some questions. Another thought, revisit your why. Many times, and there's a whole section in the success, in the assessment phase of the success toolbox, where you really look at your victories and your lessons, but also really look at your why. And when you go from lesson 1 to lesson 2, where you start to look at the things you need to change, one of the keys is, what is my why? And your why is that thing that you really, 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 really want to become. You know, most people say, well, why do you work? Because I need to make a living. Well, God didn't just put you to work for, you know, Charlie Brown or Charlie's shipping company. He put you here for something more important. If you find that you have not been able to make the progress that you thought you should have made by this time in this year in your life, one of the underlying challenges is the why. If your why is not big enough, if your why does not stimulate you and make your heart throb, if your why is something you will die for, I don't like to say, if your why is something you will fly for. When you look at Tyler Perry, in spite of all the setbacks, when he tells his story of abuse he experienced as a child, and he started out to, you know, with a 6'5" man, wanting to write plays. You know, they say, but did he ever go to get a degree in playwriting? I don't think so. But his why, his desire was so strong that that desire created such a vibration in him that it kept him going. And look at him now. I mean, he manifested that he wanted. And so for those of you on this webinar tonight, revisit your why. If you've been stuck, if you've been going through the same transformation, the same challenges over and over, your why might be the issue. Because if you don't have your why that's clear, that touches your heart, everything else is off key. You see, once you have your why, then now you can tailor your why. It gives life to your vision. You know, for years, I thought I wanted to be a network marketer. I've been through so many perspectives. I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. And I guarantee you, if you go back and make a list of all the things you thought you wanted to be, I guarantee you will crack up. But at least you were thinking. Revisit your why. When I realized for myself that my why was to write and speak to millions of people to transform their lives. And that's why God gave me the gift to talk, the gift to write. And so when you look for your why, put the time into it. It may not happen overnight because there's so many things. You know, we get caught up in other people's expectations, and that can undermine our why. Why are you doing this? I got to take care of my family. God didn't put you here just to take care of your family. That's important. I'm not saying, but your why is bigger than that. If your why is big enough, no obstacle can stop you. When Hugh Hefner was doing Playboy, think about this, in the 50s, he wanted to do a magazine that showed naked women and had intellectual information. People were not lined up to invest in his magazine. People were not lined up to advertise in his magazine. But what he knew was this: if he could prove it worked, proof of concept, he could make it happen. And so he made a choice. He could not afford an apartment and an office. So he gave up his apartment. He lived in the office. He could not afford to hire writers because all he had was a dream. So he wrote all the articles under different names and different vibrations. He couldn't even afford to eat. So he started a review column so the restaurants would welcome him, because nobody wants a bad review. So he ate free. Everybody loves beautiful women. He picked out his camera and came in with 5 or 6 beautiful women and took pictures. Everybody, so he ate free. He hung out with beautiful women. He slept in his office. He wrote all the articles because his why was big enough. So let me sort of close out this portion, because right now you're standing at the precipice. You have 5 more months in the year. And these 5 months can be spent complaining. They can be spent creating. They can be spent designing and living the life you desire. Herman said something about SMART goals. So once you have your why, once you clarify your vision, then you can break your vision down into goals. And those goals become the stair steps to your vision and to the manifestation of your why. So when we complete tonight, be sure to go to our website, herbertharris.com, and get the Success Toolbox. You get all the things we talked about, plus the autographed, numbered copy of the 12 Universal Laws of Success. But I don't want you to get it if you're not going to use it. Because if you use it, it will transform your life. Any questions, any thoughts you'd like to add? I think you can just raise your hand. I don't want to single people out, but anyone wants to raise their hand to add some thoughts or comments or any questions they may have? Let me minimize my screen. A.M. Noel, okay. All right, Noel.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. I tell you, your message is so brilliant. And my commitment is, how do we make this message as a manual for life? Your book is a manual for life. People have manuals for anything and everything. And in order for something to work, we got to master the manual. And this is a manual for life. So thank you for allowing me to share. What you have written is a manual for generations to come.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Noel. And you know, one of the things that I want the message of sharing to be the sharing in the lives. When Chris was speaking earlier, Chris down in Australia, you know, as a manual, and I remember when he bought the Success Toolbox, and he was working, I think, with a construction company, and then he moved out, and now he's heading toward getting his own company, building his home. And so I think the message will speak through each and every one of you. Any others? Raise your hand and any comments or questions you may have. We just had Sade. How are you? Any questions or comments?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I really just appreciate everyone coming first and foremost. And I really like the reference for the 12 Universal Laws of Success as a manual for life.
Yes.
I think that life can be a lot less circumstantial when we have a reference and a solid plan. And it's a lot more enjoyable when you're not a victim of circumstance. Things happen on a day-to-day basis that are inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're solid in your course and you have direction, and just like the 12 Universal Laws of Success being an example of a direction, it's a lot easier to maneuver, and you become a lot more resilient because you have a strong and solid foundation. So I just want to thank you, Dr. Harris, for providing us with such insight and providing us with this reference that we can use and carry with us throughout our day-to-day lives.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sade. And I appreciate the great work you do to help us bring the message there. So the book and the 12 Universal Laws of Success and the Success Toolbox are all part of the toolbox. Those of you who don't have it, get it. Those of you have it, be sure to work with it. Get it and work with it. Any other hands raised? And we're about to wrap up. Go right ahead, Herman.
Yeah, I have a closing thought.
Yes.
You know, something that you taught me, Dr. Harris, that that helped me, and another gentleman had said something about this that reminded me of it. You have to start being. You have to start being. You could make all the plans that you want. You could always try to wait for the stars to get lined up right. You could always wait till you have enough money. You could always wait till you have enough education. You could wait till you took the right class. You could have as many excuses as your heart desires, and you'll never ever accomplish your goals. One thing you told me is you got to start being.
Yes.
You got to be it. You got to be it. Start doing it. Even if you don't know how to do it, start doing it and learn as you go. And that was the most valuable lesson that I learned this year that's taking me into the next half of the year. Like having vision board workshops wasn't my focus. My focus was to be a lecturer. My focus was to have seminars. But I had to start being. And as a result of being, my vision board workshops start feeding into one-day seminars and coaching opportunities.
Yes.
So just the being in itself, you gotta, I had to declare it like, all right, I just can't wait. I can't wait till I get as much information as Dr. Harris or as Dave has or as Noel has. I can't wait till I get the information. I gotta jump out there, be it. Who do I have to be a lecturer? And once I know who I have to be that person and start doing it, or it's not going to happen. If I sit down and just wish and hope and pray, it ain't going to happen. So being and doing leads to having.
Ooh, you got to be first. Then
That's
you
right.
got to do, and you will have. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Herman. Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're right at the top of the hour. We're right at our time. and I try to honor your time commitments. If anyone else had a hand, they can raise it to be heard or to ask a question. Maureen, yes, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent.
I love the seminar. I'm a first timer.
Yes.
I'm here taking notes as you speak.
Wow, where are you located, Maureen?
I'm in Florida.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Did you have any questions?
Not really. Do you do these seminars often?
Yes, we have a whole series of things. Well, Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock, we do a class every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. And then we're going to be doing more things at night like this one. This kind of an introduction. And the people who get the Success Toolbox, I recommend that you get that, because a part of that is to be a part of our mastermind group. And so, yes, we'd love to have you. No,
Okay, thank you.
all
I
right,
will
so
be.
be sure, go to the website, herbertharris.com, and you see the link for the Success Toolbox.
Okay, have a blessed night.
You too. Thank you, dear. Any other comments or questions? Well, let me just acknowledge them. Steve Harrison, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Steve. I see Sonia, thank you so much for joining us. If any of you want to speak before we end, just raise your hand. Lorenzo Manzano, thank you for joining us. Al Lindsay, thank you for joining us. And Sister Latifa, Margie, thank you for joining us. Sade, Mary, Kyle, Chris, Herman, and okay, Aubrey and Maureen has spoken. All right, so there being no more hands raised, I want to thank each and every one of you for being on this webinar tonight. This is a first we're starting. Be sure to go out and get a copy of the Success Toolbox. It's $47, but it's over $250 worth of digital goodies. So go to herbertharris.com, herbertharris.com, and click on, you'll see the link there for the Success Toolbox. So those of you who are with us and been with us today, we say this, we'll close this way, that when you take the Success Toolbox and use it, then you'll have everything you need to get anything you want. You can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Thank you, and good night.